Race number 1 at Caulfield is a benchmark 78 over the 1200 metres, and I've got Chia on top. I think that this horse is hard to beat. 2 from 2 at his last 2 starts, and there have been impressive wins from the back of the field. Mickey D on for the Hayes boys from an inside barrier. I think he can use the draw, hopefully settle a little bit closer in the run and prove hard to beat. Immortal Star is the class of this field by some way, though has to carry the weight. That does get 1.5 kilos off with Logan Bates' claim for Kieran Ma. Clear second pick. Wolfie in for third, hasn't won in a long time or performed in a long time, but he hasn't had a lot of luck in his races, and if he found his best, could give this a shake. And Dancing Storm comes over from SA in for fourth. Chia for me in the first. Race number 2 at Caulfield is a benchmark 78 over the 2,400 metres, and I've got Flamin' Romans, the toppy, on top for Logan Bates and Kieran Ma. I think that this horse is hard to beat with the blinkers going back on, coming out of a listed race. Yes, he may have been a little bit lucky in that race to get the placing, but look, he's hard fit, he's going to go forward, we know where he's going to be, and there's just absolutely no speed in this race, and at $6 I think he's a better chance. I think he's the best chance in the race at winning. Bluestone in for second. They met at Moonee Valley last year over the 2,500 metres, and Bluestone had a significant weight swing on Flamin' Romans, and now Flamin' Romans gets the weight swing on Bluestone and is hard fit, being fifth up, and I think can prove hard to beat. Mr. Bannock way up in grade, though he's flying, and Samuel Langhorne in for fourth. He's way back in grade and at the right trip, but he needs to show his best. Flamin' Romans for mine in the second. Race number 3 at Caulfield is the Circa Valley Pearl at listed level over the 1,200 metres, and I am with Rich on Bubbles. I think that this horse brings a certain level of class. Dan Stackhouse in the settle for the Hayes boys. It's fit, it's flying, 2 good wins in Adelaide. Should get into a good spot, peel off them and come down the middle of the track in a swooping fashion and win, in my opinion. Myro's Ruler can be up on speed for a long way. And prove and see and make a race of it. Cyclotron in for third, I thought was a little disappointing in Adelaide's debut run, though it can be better for it. And Nicky Tria, with the blinkers going on up in trip, could improve. But Rich on Bubbles looks his race to lose in the listed Valley Pearl. Race number 4 at Caulfield is the Group 3 Alexandra Stakes over the 1,600 metres, and I couldn't go past Get a Good Feeling here. Bolted in first up in the English Sprint, and may have overachieved being at the price it was, being at a double-figure quote, but class got it over the line, got it to the 4 and sprinted away from them. And if it can run that well fresh and win, I can't see any issue about going to the 1,600 metres. This horse bolted in the Wakefield and started favourite in the Oaks in front of Strictly Business in the market, and also beat Strictly Business home in the Wakefield by a significant margin, even though Strictly Business had to go back to the inside. But having said that, I think that Get a Good Feeling is just a good thing here, in my opinion. Next Gen in for third, I think can run really well, up in grade from its last start run. They brought the horse back in grade for an easy win, and they got that, and it bolted in, but it still has to come up against some pretty tough, fierce opposition here, and Seychelles in for fourth. Get a Good Feeling in the Alexandra. I just don't think it's going to get beat. Race number 5 at Caulfield is a benchmark 96 over the 1,200 metres, and I've got Voodoo on top. I think that this horse is hard to beat with the 51 kilos. Third up, hard, fit, flying. Went from a 78 to an 84 last start to a 96, shouldn't be any issue at all. Has the fitness, has the weight advantage, and should be hard to beat from the outside draw, swooping home out wide, and I think we'll be getting the win here. Give Me Space in for second, has the 56 kilos. Mickey D for the Hayes boys, has a good draw in barrier number 4, and if he can settle a little bit closer, could prove hard to beat, though I think he might need just one more, but we know he's got an excellent turn of forward on his day. King Zephyr, in my opinion, needs needs 1400 metres, and from the inside draw could have traffic issues. And I think at 3:30, look, he's a classy horse, but he will need luck. Pondalawi in for fourth. I think that this horse can sprint well fresh, considering she had basically no luck last preparation. 55 kilos, Jai McNeil riding for the Brown team. You don't see that very often. And Barry number 8 should give this horse every chance. Vidal on top with the lightweight, couldn't go past it, and it's pretty open beyond him. Race number 6 at Caulfield is the Group 3 Don Casbolt Classic over the 1200 metres, and I think this class and the star filly can show up here in Point Barrow. She took everything before her last preparation. Each of her wins has been impressive. She ran really well first up at the Oakley Plate from a wide draw back in the field. I know I had the 50 kilos, so had the weight advantage on the rest of the field, but still ran so well. Stackhouse back in the saddle from a good draw. I think, and this is the first time this horse has drawn well in her career. I'm hoping that she can settle a little bit more forward in the run, and if she can get that position, one out, one back potentially, or one back on the rail, she's going to be awfully hard to beat, and I couldn't go past her here. Alpha Sophie was disappointing in the English sprint off, winning prior to that, but I just think the straight brought her undone, and I think 1200 is going to really suit her and back around a bend at a track where we know she has had success at before, if I can get the words out. Can prove hard to run down. And Bassett Babe in for third. This horse has been so impressive in Adelaide. Can it bring it to the big stage in Melbourne? We'll find out. And Scenic Point in for fourth. $23. Needs to get its career back on track. Marks are on the saddle from a wide draw and could be running home hard and has jumped out really well. It's an open race, but I'm going to go with the class of Point Barrow to hopefully sit closer and get the win. Race number 7 at Caulfield is the Group 2 Sunline Stakes over the 1600 metres, and wow, if they beat Treasure at the moment, they'll be doing well here, because she's my best bet of the day. Inside draw, Dan Stackhouse, what a day he's going to be in for. I think that this horse is extremely hard to beat, coming out of the Futurity first up against the boys in much higher grade than she's been competing in mostly Group 1 races for her last couple of starts, and she's been very competitive. And you got to remember that, she had an issue last preparation, and beyond that, nothing went right for her. Ran into Pride of Jenny a couple of times. I just think that she's back in grade to get a soft win here, and if she doesn't, she should be winning here, and it should be an absolute canter. Filly in for second. This horse had no luck last start and can improve with this into this run from the wide draw, and will be charging home. Damask Rose, I thought it was a good thing last start and had every possible chance. I couldn't go with it again, though. Gets Mickey D from a good draw and on display on her best form is up there with the rest of this field. But Treasure at the moment's got 5 lengths on class alone on this field. Should be winning. Race number 8 at Caulfield is the Group 1 William Reid Stakes, the feature of the day over the 1200 metres, and I don't use this word moral very often, but I'm going to use it here for Jimmy Star. I just think he's too good for this field. Yeah, there's a little bit of a query with the map he's going to get from the inside drop barrier, and while he will need a slight bit of luck, he's a class horse in this way by some distance, being a multiple Group 1 winner. We know he sprints well fresh, and we know how he goes at Caulfield. Marks are in the saddle, and he's the best jockey to be getting this horse out of trouble and getting the run for it. So with all that considered, I think that he's the one to beat in the William Reid. He ran third in the race last year off a leader bias at the Valley, and if you run this race to the Valley, you probably say you enhance Jigsaw's or Tropicus's chances because they're going to be up on the pace. But even track, all things being considered, class, Jimmy Star's the one to beat. Jigsaw in for second now. I had this horse on top last weekend and he duly saluted. He bolted in. But what did he beat? He beat absolutely nothing behind him and did make it look impressive with the weight he had. But this is a whole different ball game here. Look, he'll run well. Likely, yes, he'll get a place, but I just think that he might be a bit vulnerable coming to the end of his race, considering he's on the weak backup. Tropicus in for third. Was a dominant winner of the Oakley played against his own company, but now steps up into open age company. So I think he has to take that extra step and leap here to win this. And Angel Capital, he's getting costly for punters, and he hasn't produced what we know he can in his last couple of starts. So having said that, he's third in the Newmarket was impressive considering he didn't get a lot of luck. John McNeil in there settle for Chris Waller. Could he be the horse that's charging late with so much speed on? Unlikely to see him win, but he could run a placing. Jimmy Star for mine in the Oakley Plate. Race number 9 at Caulfield is the Group 2 Alistair Clark Stakes over the 2,000 metres, and play it again, Sam. It's Planet Red on top, another favourite, and I think that this horse just picks himself here, surely. Marks are in this saddle, wide draw, comes swooping down the outside. Multiple Group 1 placed horse in the Australian Guineas and the Caulfield Guineas. I just think this horse is just too good for this field, in my opinion. He should be a lot shorter than the $1.80 on offer. Probably, in my opinion, about $1.60, and I think he'll be winning. Roulette King, he couldn't not be impressive at his last 2 wins in much weaker races. Jamie Mott on, and I think can run well from the wide draw, but he will have to make his run at the same time as Planet Red from the back of the field, and I just don't think he can outsprint Planet Red with the class Planet Red has. Dad and Dave has been impressive in Tasmania, winning the Launceston Cup and the Tasmanian Derby. I think those are the 2 races it's last contested. Will run well at $19, but I don't think it'll affect anything in the top end resulting. And Single Choice in for 4th, ran really well behind Observer first up, or whenever it was, running second into the Group 2, but it's hard to, I don't think he's going to trouble them here. Planet Red for mine and the Alistair Clark, I'm pretty confident. Race number 10 at Caulfield to finish this fantastic day of racing. William Reid Day is a benchmark 84 over the 1400 metres, and I'm going with gold medalist. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, how the hell do you think that horse can win? Just hear me out. A lot of these horses have been up for a long time or can't win. They're right in their preparation. This horse is only 3rd up, 2 runs over the 1200 metres. Ran okay last start, in my opinion. He's got a good draw to settle right behind the leaders. He's got a lightweight Luke Nolan in the saddle, and up to the 1400 metres where we know that this horse can run his best races. I think he's been totally overlooked by the market. $8.50 looks a great price. I'm not worried about the class rise at all because, like I said, there's a couple here that might be looking for the paddock or at the end of their preparation. So I think that, all things being equal, it's a good price to find out. Porter will be in front for a long way. He's absolutely flying. Enamorada, I was happy to take on as favourite at $3.20. I just think it's far too short for a horse that narrowly won last start, beating Trapdoor, and it was Blue Hawaiian in 3rd. You know, it's not the ringing endorsement you want for a race like this, and other horses have better form. Jackknife in for 4th. I think this horse could be anything, but I think he might want a little bit further and a run. But it gets Mark Zara, and it's gonna run well here, in my opinion. But I personally think that it's gold medalist in the last for me. Thank you everyone for watching my preview for Group 1 William Reid Stakes Day. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next weekend for the racing.